Hi there everyone, Lars back with another review for The Dangers in My Heart, episode 24. Brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast by novice writers for novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and darn it, I love this episode, and I love it probably more because of the Nara deer than anything else. But I'm going to get to that in due time. This episode right here is the penultimate episode setting everything up. I believed that there were only going to be 12 episodes this season. I was wrong. That's what happens when you don't double check on the episode count, and lucky me, there's one more episode to go. Oh yes, we're finally getting to the best part of the manga, at least in my humble opinion. But before we can get to that epic moment, we have to first look at the fun and shenanigans that are occurring in the lives of Ichikawa and Yamada. And what I really love about this episode is the conundrum that Yamada finds herself in, torn between two obligations and really actually two choices. She has an obligation to her job, but she also especially has an obligation to her job as a student. And of course, being on this school trip with her friends, with Ichikawa, is the best for her. And yet, she has an opportunity to audition for a role in the adaptation of her favorite rom-com manga. That right there is big. And speaking as someone who has done a spot of acting and has hung around with a lot of actors, you would be willing to sacrifice anything, at least in the moment, to get the role that you want to have. So for Yamada, she is torn in two different ways, and I love how this all plays into the reveal by the end of the episode and a lot of the drama along the way, because as far as Ichikawa is concerned, he's just caught up in the fact of, she was reading the rom-com manga again, just as I was, and in volume 12, it's when they kiss going on a school trip. Yamada's planning on kissing me during the school trip! Yes! Oh wait, that's so awkward, but I want it so bad. And so Ichikawa's caught up in all of his own thoughts, meanwhile finding out that Kana is planning on ambushing him and Yamada whenever they are alone together and trying to force a confession, force them to get together. But of course, if Ichikawa is going to confess at all, he wants to be the one to do it properly, and dang it boy, you should have done this last season. So that's effectively the drama that we've got going on here. All the characters doing their own thing, and this is indeed a wonderful strength of The Dangers in My Heart. How all of the characters, and then really the side characters as well, have true individual personalities that all clash and mesh in fantastic ways. Everything from the girls being a bit jealous of Yamada and then getting really embarrassed when Kobayashi's like, I will charge you for staring at her. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Meanwhile, what are the boys doing? They're whipping off their towels and be like, look at my sword. Just remember this, young lads. It's not necessarily the size of your sword, but what you can do with it. And if you can't unsheath your sword, then what is the use of it being as big as it is? Anyway, let's start relatively at the beginning with the school trip coming up. This is something that I feel that more American schools need to do. Bring back field trips. Do awesome trips with your students. As a teacher, I wanted to do field trips so badly, but public schools are massively underfunded. It's very, very hard to get the resources necessary to take kids on a good, fun, educational field trip. Something that could introduce them to all kinds of possibilities and really help them to understand whatever subject it is that you're teaching, or to open them up to possibilities of learning stuff about their city, their state, or about future career choices, to go to the local university and check out what the future holds for them, because life does not end in high school. Get that through your heads, little ones! But so it's time to go to Nara and to Kyoto, and I love how Ichikawa completely is losing his head because he's focusing so much on Yamada that he misses that Ibe actually has the same last name, leading to a little fun confrontation where it's like, hey, do you want to be in my group? Dude, we're just trying to figure out who's going to be in what room together. But little do those girls know that Ichikawa's going to be spending the night with them anyway. But then they go off to Nara, and the train right there on the bullet train nice and relaxing. Bullet trains in Japan are really awesome. And the Nara deer are going to mug you the moment that they realize that you have a cracker. In fact, when we went to Japan for a harem vacation, I went with the sole purpose of getting mugged by pygmy deer. I told people before I left, I am going to Japan to get mugged by little sacred pygmy deer. And oh boy, it happened. So watching this episode, I was rolling in my seat laughing because it brought back so many funny memories. And those deer are being way too kind to Yamada. At the point where you get that surrounded, you are getting bitten and gored all over the place because they want those crackers. But that aside, it's kind of a shame that Ichikawa and Yamada don't go together, just slightly more up the road, because actually when you get out of that flat park area, there is a slight hill that you can climb that takes you up into the foothills, and there is a beautiful shrine along with a well where you can get your love fortune. And yes, I did get my own. So yeah, that would have been fun to have seen Ichikawa and Yamada do that, but nope, we've got shenanigans to do. We've got Kobayashi dropping hints to Ichikawa that Yamada has something going on. And yes, he's realized by now that she's putting on airs. She's forcing herself, and he doesn't exactly know what is going on. Well, he won't know until they get to Kyoto. I believe it's when they get to Kyoto by that time. Maybe I'm getting things wrong right here. In any case, when they then all get together for the evening and it's time to pick out their beds, he is trying to figure out what exactly is going on. He's speaking to his id, and his id is like, oh, form the chain of sheets, go down to the bedroom beneath you and steal a kiss from Yamada. Ichikawa, being the good boy that he is, though, is thinking, no, there's something going on. I need to figure out what's up with Yamada. And so that leads him to, after all of the bathroom shenanigans with the boys and the girls, trying to find a private place where he can contact Yamada and find out what's up. Well, he does meet her on the stairs as she's looking at her schedule. Can she leave the school trip and go to the audition? Again, she's torn, spending time with her friends and with Ichikawa. This is the chance of a lifetime as far as all the kids are concerned. Or take the chance of the lifetime and sacrifice your time with your friends to potentially get the role that you really want in the adaptation of your favorite manga. This is actually a pretty big deal when you stop to think about it. Well, Ichikawa accidentally spooks her. She throws her phone up into the air. He grabs it, sees what she's looking at. Kana comes ready to ambush them, and Adachi saves the day. Good on you, Adachi. Even though he has no clue what he just did. It gives Yamada a chance to escape. Ichikawa goes on after her, and because of the teachers being like, hey, it's time for lights out, everyone in their rooms, Yamada has to disguise with her towel. She has got to disguise Ichikawa to make him look like Kobayashi. How many times are they going to be able to get away with this stunt in the future? I just want to know. In any case, they get shoved by their exuberant teacher on into their room, and Yamada now has to hide Ichikawa within her futon. Oh, let the romantic drama continue. I'm just going to say this. Having used Japanese futons, I don't see how you actually hide someone in a futon without everyone realizing there's a body right there. Unless Ichikawa is as thin as a rail, everyone should know that there is a body in that futon. But hey, this is a romantic comedy. You expect people to get away with these kinds of shenanigans that you would never be able to get away with in real life. So yeah, it happens. Now then, everything has been set up for the finale. This is where things are going to get great, because Ichikawa, now understanding what Yamada is laboring under, knowing that friends and classmates are trying to have their own plots and schemes to either grab Yamada, force them into a relationship, or what have you, he's got to make his move. But also, he respects a fact of Yamada's life right here, is that she's an actress. And as per the social expectations within Japan, she's not supposed to be in an open relationship with anyone else. And yet, he loves her. And it's quite clear that she likes him. So what has he got to do? Oh, we all know what Ichikawa's got to do. And that next episode is going to be amazing. Now, let's quickly analyze what we've got going on here in this episode and see what kind of writing advice we can take on out of it. First of all, again, make sure that all of your characters have their own unique personalities, that they can bounce off of each other, that they can mesh, that they can clash, because that's where a lot of the drama and the humor is going to come from, especially character development. When we look at Adachi has grown as an individual because of his interactions with all of the other characters within his class. When we look at Ichikawa, it's not just been Yamada who has helped him to change, it's his interactions with everyone else. And we get to see all the other different friendships and romances playing out there in the background, and that adds spice and life to your story when you can make sure that your characters all have their own individualities, their own personalities, and their own lives aside from your main characters. Another thing is this. The conundrums that some of your main characters might come across, especially their personal challenges. To us as the fans, there might be a lot of people who are like, look, Yamada, why are you agonizing over this potential job? You might not get it. You're too tall to play the part of the shorter, cute girl. And if that's the case, then really why would you sacrifice your time with your friends and with the guy that you like to go after this job? Well, for Yamada, this isn't just simply a chance to further her career. This is a dream opportunity to be again in an adaptation of her favorite work. Wouldn't that be awesome? And when you are an actor or an actress, you crave to have those roles that you love, either to play the character that you've always wanted to play, or just to be in the story that you've loved so much. And you are willing to sacrifice time with other people, time on jobs, to have that shot. And for Yamada herself, she wants to gain more confidence. She wants to be more mature. She wants to have a fulfilling life. She wants to love what she does. And in many ways, I'd say that having this job, at least in her mind, would bring her even closer to Ichikawa, being that she can now embody a character in this story that they both share between themselves. I could absolutely see that. So for her, this is indeed a conundrum. We as the audience don't necessarily need to think the same way that Yamada does, but it does need to be presented to us that this conundrum actually is something that she is indeed struggling with. You as a writer, if you wish to present a personal problem to the audience that one of your characters is going through, you need to help your audience understand this is why it's an issue, because they have all these different choices between them. All of these different choices have merit to them, and they can't have their cake and eat it too. A choice has to be made. So what are you going to do? And my last bit of advice is in regards to the Nara deer. I'll say this. You can write a scene like with Ichikawa and Yamada with the Nara deer just based off of your understanding of Nara, the deer, and the crackers, and everything will work out just fine. If you happen to have personal experience with the Nara deer, you can easily put that into your story and just make that just some of the fun, the fluff, the spice of what you're describing and playing out with your characters. But here's the thing, you don't need to go to Japan or to any other exotic place in order to have these kinds of experiences. By having experiences with other people, with your family, with your friends, with coworkers, going out on a small adventure every now and then, enjoy a vacation when you can. Just doing stuff with your life gives you experiences that you can then wend into your story. If you aren't living your life the best that you can and accumulating all of these personal experiences and talents and relationships, it will be harder for you to write good dialogue, to write humor, to write drama, to write romance, to write action, to write locations and all of this stuff. Live your life to the fullest that you can, and that will be a great source of inspiration for you to write these kinds of scenes. So there you have it. That is my breakdown, my analysis, and writing advice from the penultimate episode, Karte 24. I want to tell her. Oh, we are getting to what Ichikawa will tell Yamada. And I am so looking forward to it with the next episode. It's a shame that it's coming to an end, but we do have another excellent season of anime about to premiere. Scott and I have already done our previews and recommendations for some of the upcoming anime. If you want to check that out, you can see our live stream that we just recently did. I highly recommend that you check it out. And we would especially love it if you join us for some of those live streams. I try to get one done once a week if possible, and I'm sorry I can never get it exactly on the same day each and every time because, well, that's scheduling. Life happens. But again, we would love it if you were able to join us. And in the meantime, if you're looking for more writing advice, reviews, analyses, you can check out our other videos that we already have up here on our channel. And if you want to really support what we do, please buy a copy of one of the books that we have published. The links for them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible, hilarious, sometimes rom-commy adventure that we call writing. Rom-commy? No, we are not communists. We love capitalism here. And until the next time, y'all, tschüss.
触ってみ。なんで半脱ぎなの？